If you can answer the 5 questions in this video, you can pick HIPAA, or sometimes mispronounced as HIPAA, hosting with confidence without drowning in legalese. Hey, I'm Jerry from HostScore. If you are choosing a HIPAA hosting for the first time, this video is for you. I'll keep things easy to understand and point to the official rules at the end so you can double-check everything. Let's begin, shall we? First thing first, do you actually handle ePHI and hence need a HIPAA hosting? ePHI stands for Electronic Protected Health Information. It is any health-related information that can identify a person when it's created, stored, or transmitted electronically, by you or by your vendors. Think data backups, crash logs, exported spreadsheets, analytics events, support screenshots, and temporary application files. If a record can identify someone and says something about their health, care, or payment for care, treat it as electronic protected health information. If you or any vendor you use touches this information, then the HIPAA security rule applies. That means you're not just expected to do your best. By law, you must put safeguards in place to protect that information and keep written evidence of how you do it. Safeguards cover 3 areas. 1. Administrative. This includes policies, training, risk analysis, vendor oversight. 2. Physical, which includes locks, facility access controls, device and media handling. And 3. Technical. This includes access controls, encryption, audit logs, and integrity checks. And here's the kicker. It's not enough to just have the controls running. HIPAA expects you to document them. That means risk assessments, policies, logs, and proof that you're reviewing and updating them regularly. Without that documentation, the safeguards don't exist in the eyes of the law. Which brings us to the next big decision. Even if you've got the right safeguards, are you working with a web host who will actually sign a business associate agreement, or BAA? Because without that, you're still not compliant. This leads us to the second question. Do you have a BAA with your hosting provider? HIPAA requires all vendors that create, receive, maintain, or transmit ePHI on your behalf to be covered by a business associate agreement. This means your hosting provider, your cloud storage service, even third-party logging or backup vendors. If they can see or touch ePHI, you need a signed BAA with them. The BAA spells out the responsibilities both sides take on to safeguard ePHI. And here's the important part. If your provider uses sub-vendors, those obligations must legally flow down to them as well. In plain English, everyone in the chain that touches ePHI must be bound by a BAA. Take Atlantic.net as a good example. They don't just say their servers are HIPAA ready. They actually back it up by signing a business associate agreement with every HIPAA customer. That agreement is your legal safety net. It's the document that proves the host is taking responsibility for their side of the safeguards. Without it, you're exposed. That's why we always say, no BAA, no go. If a provider won't give you one, cross them off your list immediately. Now the third question. What safeguards does your host actually provide, and which ones are still on you? HIPAA groups safeguards into 3 buckets, and this is where most teams finally get some clarity. The administrative safeguards are the people and policy side of things. Do a risk analysis, train your team, manage vendors, and write down how you do security. In HIPAA's eyes, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. Secondly, the physical safeguards, which are about buildings and hardware. Things like data center access controls, locked cages, and how servers and media are handled. A good HIPAA host should be able to explain their facility controls in plain English, not just throw acronyms and jargons at you. Lastly, we have technical safeguards, which refers to the hands-on controls that include access control with unique IDs and multi-factor auth, encryption in transit and at rest, audit logs that you actually review, integrity protections, and a tested backup and disaster recovery plan. When you're talking to a hosting provider, ask them exactly which safeguards they're responsible for and which ones remain on your shoulders. Also ask how both sides can prove those safeguards are real through policies, reports, or third-party audits. Because in a HIPAA audit, trust us isn't enough. You need evidence that both you and your host are doing your part. Question number 4. Cloud or dedicated? Here's the fork in the road. Cloud hosting is like renting flexible space in a skyscraper. Spin up more capacity for a launch, scale back when it's quiet, and you usually get resilience across hardware. Dedicated hosting is your own building. Predictable performance, deeper customization, and fixed monthly pricing that can beat pay-as-you-go if your workloads run hot all day. The same security rule applies either way. Cloud doesn't auto-make you compliant, and neither does bare metal. You still need the BAA, and you still own your side of the shared responsibility model. Your choice between cloud and dedicated usually comes down to your workload and budget predictability. If your traffic is spiky and seasonal, for instance, a telehealth startup that sees unpredictable traffic, might lean on cloud for flexibility. But a hospital patient portal that runs steady 24/7 often chooses dedicated for stability and predictable costs. Some providers we recommend at HostScore, like Atlantic.net, offer both modes under a HIPAA BAA. That means you can pick the architecture that fits your business today and switch later if your needs change, without starting your compliance program from scratch. Last question before you buy: managed or unmanaged hosting? Think of it like cooking at home versus hiring a chef. With unmanaged HIPAA hosting, you get the raw ingredients. You choose the operating system, set up the firewalls, apply patches, monitor performance, and run the backups. You decide exactly how the meal is prepared, but you also do all the chopping, cooking, and cleaning yourself. Your life is often a lot easier with managed hosting. The ingredients are still yours, but you've got a chef in the kitchen. The provider handles the day-to-day work, installing updates, monitoring the server, managing backups, and responding if something goes wrong. You still own the recipe, the policies, who gets access, and the compliance decisions. However, you're not stuck in the kitchen every night. When comparing providers, ask them to show you a clear breakdown of who does what. That way, you don't assume they're covering something important like log reviews or backup testing, only to find out later that it was your job all along. In HIPAA, blurred lines are a recipe for trouble. So let's recap. Choosing HIPAA hosting really boils down to 5 decisions. 1. Do you actually handle electronic protected health information? If yes, the HIPAA security rule applies to you. 2. Do you have a signed business associate agreement? No agreement, no go. That's your legal safety net. 3. What safeguards are in place? Administrative, physical, and technical. And you need proof, not just verbal promises. 4. Cloud or dedicated? Flexibility versus predictability. Pick the one that matches your workload. And 5. Managed or unmanaged? Either option is cool, but you need to be clear about who handles what. Now, it's worth pointing out, HIPAA compliance is not the only thing to think about. You should still compare providers the same way you would with any hosting plan: performance, uptime, support quality, scalability, and cost. HIPAA adds extra layers, but it doesn't erase the basics. And because accuracy matters, everything we've covered here comes straight from the official rulebook. The HIPAA security rule is spelled out in 45 CFR, Part 164, Subpart C, and HHS has detailed guidance on business associate agreement, cloud hosting, and safeguards. If you want to double-check me, those references are linked below this video. If you can answer those 5 questions honestly and weigh the usual hosting criteria, you'll know which HIPAA hosting path fits you best, and you'll be ready to talk to providers without getting lost in jargon. For those who are ready to take the next step, we've compared the top HIPAA hosting providers side by side, including which ones sign BAAS, what safeguards they advertise, and whether they offer cloud, dedicated, or both. You can find all of that in our best HIPAA hosting guide below. I'm Jerry from HostScore. Thank you so much for watching this far. If this video helped clear things up, hit subscribe. We'll keep breaking down hosting topics in plain English, so you can make better choices without the guesswork.